What's up, everybody? It's March 10th, 2017. 3 days before my birthday in my mid-20s. Where did the time go? It is episode 89 of This Isn't Cereal My Bowl, and I think I got a pretty exciting episode for you. Maybe not as exciting as the weather since it was 60 yesterday and now I'm looking at snow. What can you do? Hit it, baby Dave! How's everybody doing? I hope good. I'm well. Thank you for asking. Had an exciting weekend. Went up to Antarctica, also known as Syracuse, and played a house show. It was a cool, fun time. Played with two cool bands, the Rough Cuts, cool garage rock, and Ghost King, some cool site rockers out of Brooklyn, close neighbors. Very cool guys. Eric and Kyle from Space Camp are very cool. Their band Cult Daddy was really dope. They showed me when we were chilling in the living room. It was a good time. Got to know my bandmates better, and yeah, I had this killer kimchi turkey Reuben sandwich in Albany. Mm. Oh yeah, I'm gonna remember that sandwich for a long time. Anyway, though it's been a busy week and whatnot, I've had some time to check out stuff. Not as much as I would like to. Speaking of that, here are the misses this week. I didn't get to check out the Y album, Molean, enough at all. I did check out the song Provocative Evolution, which actually has a guest appearance by Me Without You's Aaron Weiss in the background vocals. You have to really listen for it. It's kind of more of his nasally, clean vocals. You could hear that more in Catch Russell Fox's A to B Life, early Me Without You. But it's a really cool song. Cool indie pop, some nice understated instrumentation, cool electronic drum samples. Really cool Me Without You guitar tone, actually, and just overall vibe of the guitar. Very Me Without You. I'm liking Y. I want to check it out more. It's like an experimental indie hip hop project. So yeah, I'm excited to get into it more. I also did not check out the Holly McAfee album Golden Eagle enough at all. I actually only checked out the first and last song, and the last song is called Sycamore Tree. I was searching the interwebs and I found her, and that this was her debut album. And I saw the album cover and I was like, that's really pretty. And I saw pictures of her and I was like, she's very pretty. And I listened to her voice and I was like, her voice is extremely pretty and her music's very pretty. And this song is beautiful. It's minimal, folky, and just, I was listening. It's like a 6 minute song and it doesn't really go anywhere different. It just kind of does the same thing, but it's just so pleasant and uplifting. Yeah, it's really, really, really enjoyable. I think y'all will enjoy it. And then a few albums I did check out that I wasn't really vibing with. The new Granddaddy album, Last Place, wasn't really feeling it. Like the hooks in the album, the synth, the guitar melodies, the overall tone. I've heard it before. I don't know. I would love to I could see them on a playlist. Happy they exist. I should get into their older stuff probably because they've been a band for a while. But I don't know. I wasn't vibing on it too much. I checked out a few songs on the Temples album. That album's called Volcano. This album's not really for me. If I was hanging out and it was like a dancing kind of situation and these songs were thrown on a playlist and I was moving my hips, I would enjoy it. But besides that, I'm good. And then that mountain bike band, I checked them out and that album's Too Sorry for Any Sorrow. And I checked out the song Copycat as well as a few others, but Copycat was struck me as funny because it sounded just like a copycat version of Deer Hunter. Not the Deer Hunter, Casey Crescenzo, but Deer Hunter, the Georgia one. I don't know. It had a nice vibe, cool tones, but it just sounded like Deer Hunter. I couldn't get past it. I really liked the new Minus the Bear, Voids. Now that was a good album. Minus the Bear is kind of back to form. It was surprising. I didn't think I would like it as much as I did. Literally, I haven't gone through the whole thing. Like I said, I'm behind, but Last Kiss is awesome. Give and Take, Call the Cops. Invisible is really cool. What About the Boat's probably my favorite right now. It just has a great chorus. Great overall vibe. I gotta get through the rest, but like really dope album so far. Cool album cover. They're back on Suicide Squeeze. Kind of back to form. It's a good mix of probably Plan of Ice and Omni. I'm enjoying it. I'm greatly enjoying it. Uh, a few other tracks I checked out, some singles that were released this week. I was really surprised by Alt J. Thank you, Nick Temple, for telling me to check out the new Alt J single 3WW. In 5 minutes, this song goes all over the fucking place. I kept texting him. I was like, this song just turned into like two new songs in a matter of 10 seconds. And then I was like, okay, now it's another song. It's crazy. So it starts very Alt J-ish. And I don't know if you're familiar with Alt J, but they have a very specific sound. And a lot of it has to do with panning and a lot of hand claps and a lot of reverb on the vocals and tremolo. But the song finds itself when this acoustic guitar joins, and then from there on, it just gets fucking crazy. It also gets to this slow part, like I just want to love you in my own language, and it's so beautiful. And then it gets out of that to like this like Radiohead Beck kind of like vibey thing. And the line right there is like talking about like blue neon, so that's the part of the song I'm talking about. It gets really cool, and then it gets to this part with this female vocals, and then just from there on, it's just crazy awesome. Awesome song. The single artwork's really cool. Greens and a lot of like square shapes and stuff. And then we have Chastity Belt released a single called Different Now. And there's definitely telling us something. It's different now. They're more mature. It's very mellow. It's still their sound. But it's a good single. It didn't blow me away, but it was definitely like sing alongable. I listened to it twice, and the second time I was already starting to want to sing the melody. And yeah, for fans of indie pop and stoner rock, the new Chastity Belt single, Different Now, cool. Not as good as the old J3WW though. That single's out of bounds, but not. Oh no, I went guy on you. But not as good as the new Fleet Foxes single, 3rd of May, and Adagahara. Adagahara? I probably butchered that. But it's like an 8 minute long song. 8 minutes and 45 seconds to be exact. And in the beginning it sounds just like, classic Fleet Foxes. Some really cool violins though, some really cool orchestrations. Gotta listen in some nice headphones. But right off the bat, very catchy, very familiar. And then it just like dies a little bit, dips down and builds back up to just this just crazy, almost like 70s movie soundtrack with like the strings, how they sound, just like this tension building part, like someone's dying or like they're running to get someone, it's in the rain, or I don't even know, but that's like the vibe that part gets me. And then it just dies again to just the lead singer, just this acoustic guitar, just singing and strumming really beautiful, and then it just breaks to this really beautiful instrumental that it ends with. And it's just insane, and it's experimental, and it's beautiful, and the strings are lush, and it's expansive, and there's really subtle things, like when it gets to that really weird part, there's this really subtle slide guitar in the background. It's just amazing, and there's these background vocals that are going on the whole time. And in the beginning, you don't really realize it through the 3rd of May until like it cuts out in the second part, and you're like, and the vocals are still going. You're like, that's been there the whole time. Holy shit! This album's it's already like contender for album of the year. If the rest of the songs are this good or better, that's gonna be insane. It's really interesting. The 3rd of May is when Helplessness Blues was released, their last album. That was 6 years ago, and that is also the birthday of their guitarist, Skylar Skidgelet. I probably butchered that. Fucking killer song. But I have to say, my favorite release of last week has to be Tim Kasher's No Resolution. This is the Tim Kasher solo album I've been waiting for. It's a concept album. It's actually a movie soundtrack, even cooler. He's coming out with a movie. I'm definitely going to watch it. It'll be of the same name, same story. This is going to be the soundtrack. It's lush. It's sweet. It's beautiful. It has aspects of Cursive and The Good Life. It gets big when it needs to, and it's beautiful when it needs to. And it has all this vibraphone all through it, and horns and strings. And Tim sounds amazing, better than ever. There's synth in it, but it's not overpowering like on Adult Film, his last album. Uh, it's amazing. I don't know too much about the story right now. I do know that it is an engaged couple on the verge of breaking up at a New Year's Eve party. And I mean, the last song is not over you, and the line is "I'm not over you being over me." So I don't know what that means for the ending, but it's a pretty intense song. Um, he definitely got some top-notch musicians for this one. I was looking up the drummer and percussionist for most of the songs. Dylan Ryan is from this jazz group called Sand, and yeah, he did like all the drumming and extra percussion shit. What song is it? Break Me Open has some really cool like Glenn Cautry style drumming. And then also Patrick Newberry, who has worked on a bunch of old Cursive albums, and Wilco played organ, Fender Rhodes, piano, vibraphone, trumpet. Respect the hell out of that guy, for real. And then they had a bunch of other studio musicians playing cello, violin, flute, and then everything else was Tim, which I think is real dope. You know, bass, guitar, singing, synth, killer musician, killer songwriter. They're one of my like low key inspirations. Like I love Cursive. I don't think I talk about them enough, but they really do inspire me. It's a great album. Maybe my favorite album of the year so far. Some favorite songs are definitely Runts, Break Me Open, Holding Out. Such a sweet chorus. So beautiful. Hollow just builds the whole time. Just gets crazy with the horns. It's just... Ah. Oh no, shit. Messes is the one with the horns. Hollow is a full on just build crazy with like this synth part. And then Messes, it just gets crazy, like very cursive with horns. And Not Over You has this great guitar tone. And then it just breaks open and it just keeps that chorus going. I'm not over you being over me until it ends. And it's a great album. I can't wait to check out the movie. But that is what was in my bowl this week. That's what I checked out. But it's not over yet, kiddos. Oh, no, it is not. Because we got some albums coming out today. Some albums I'm definitely going to check out for today, March 10th, the year of our Lord, 2017. Laura Marling, her ninth album, Semper Femina. I'm not really familiar with her, but I was checking out the singles, and they're really dope. Sounds just like kind of rock singer-songwriter, but I was feeling it. The Magnetic Fields are coming out with their new album, 50-song memoir. This is a concept album because it is a song for each year of the main dude's life. And I did not dig the single that I checked out. I'm not really listening to much Magnetic Fields, but there's someone out there that would like this and that should check it out. And it's really cool that it's a concept album. And I mean, 50 songs, I have to like at least a few of them. It's statistics. Another album that I'm not sure that I'm going to be totally like excited for, but could be exciting is Jacques Green. It's coming out with his new album, Phil Infinite. This is a Canadian DJ, apparently pretty established, but I've never heard of him before. But the singles were all right that I was checking out. I got a very house down tempo vibe from them. Something to check out. Could be cool. Definitely put on a playlist. I'm all about like, I might not like love it as an album or something I want to listen to all the time, but if I want to throw it on a playlist that'll be cool for a vibe, I'm down with that too. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Hooray for the Riff Raff is this like Americana rootsy folk outfit out of New Orleans, and their new album, The Navigator, is coming out today. And I think it could be really cool. I'm going to check it out. I bet you Laurel will really love it. But we'll see. She's at work right now, so I don't know. Another album that I'm pretty excited for after checking out the singles is Moonbounce. The album's called Clean House, and this is a Philly musician, electronic, airwave, mutant pop. I believe he coined this for himself, but once you listen to it, you get that out of it. It's pretty cool. I'm definitely gonna check it out. I was really loving the single Drugs. Like I think it's called like Drugs Part 1. Pretty cool. At work last night, we worked past midnight, so I was checking out the new Shins album, Heartworms, and I was digging on it a little bit. I wasn't really excited about this album, but I was digging on it. But we'll have to see. It was just the first 3 tracks. The fourth one I actually stopped listening to. I got bored of it, so I don't know. But I was digging on it. Parlor Walls. They're coming out with their first album, Opposites. Now, this is a weird one. They coined themselves as trash jazz because there's a lot of horns and it's kind of like fuzzy and grimy, but it's also like indie emo lo-fi. It's pretty cool. A lot of gang vocals. I think a lot of people will dig on it. I'm definitely going to dig on it. I'm also going to dig on this album, Yours Conditionally by Tennis. This is a band that's been on my radar for a very long time, but I just haven't checked out. I was getting a real indie pop vibe, but a real 70s like Carpenter's vibe meets disco. So it's a husband-wife duo, so that's exciting. I love all the single artwork. Most of the singles are really dope. I think the album's going to be really cool. Another one Laurel will probably really dig on. But again, she's at work, so I don't know. Best new music on Pitchfork, Jay Som, new album, Everybody Works. I'm really excited to check this one out. I really like Turn Into, or at least a few songs off that album I really, really loved. This is dream pop, bedroom pop, indie stuff. First one off, debut album. It's on Sub Pop. The album cover is really cool. Some reds and blues. Yeah, really excited about that one. Another one that could be cool, maybe not. The single Mother was awesome, but this band Idols, their first album, Brutalism's coming out, and it's post-punk out of Bristol, so English punk. That sounds pretty cool, though. Brutalism. What a great name for an album. I don't know. I think Cody Clark or Kyle Washcott could dig on this one. And I'm actually the most excited for this album. I just heard about this band. I've known about this genre for a while, and I've dipped into it a little bit, but the band is Planning for Burial, and the album is called Below the House, and the genre is gloom gaze, and that is a mix of metal and shoegaze, and it sounds really dope. And I've heard this with like Deaf Heaven a little bit, and Nothing, but these guys, their tone's pretty dope. So I'm really excited to just sit with that in some headphones. That's definitely what I'm gonna do on the. That's definitely what I'm gonna do on the subway to work. But that's what's coming out today. Run those by you one more time real quick so you know what to check out. We got Laura Marling, Semper Femina, Planning for Burial, Below the House, Moonbounce, Clean House, The Magnetic Fields, 50-song memoir, Hurry for the Riffraff, Hooray for the Riffraff, The Navigator, Idols, Brutalism, Jackie's Green, Phil Infinite, Parlor Walls, Opposites, Tennis, Yours Conditionally, Jay Som, Everybody Works, and The Shins, Heartworms. Check them out if you got the time. But with that is all that's in my bowl, everybody. I'm going to leave it to it. I got a real exciting conversation with a good old friend of mine, Sean Bellavance from New Jersey. It's important to remember that because people from New Jersey want you to know that they're from New Jersey. Great dude, a walking encyclopedia. He knew who Crack the Sky was. That's how I knew he was cool. I knows a lot about music and a lot about everything. A lot smarter than me. Not as handsome as me, but close. But we had a good conversation the other day about celebrating the 50th anniversary of the Velvet Underground and Nico. That album was released March 12th, so 2 days from now, in 1967. Produced by Andy Warhol. It's one of the most classic albums of all time. The album that made 30,000 bands, according to Brian Eno. Alright, well, here's me and Sean talking about it. Thanks for listening, guys. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye. Huh?
Exposed brick. How much do you pay for the exposed brick?
I think it's $5 a brick. Yeah, if that's the Brooklyn way. Yeah, it's I think they add an extra $1 if I wanted to do chalk art. I actually know people watch
That's some
Heights.
shitty exposure brick, actually, though.
It is?
I don't know.
You would know. I feel like you would be like, yeah, I've laid brick before.
I've laid pipe.
I've laid pipe. I've like cleaned all the shit my dad has thrown off a roof before. I've always been the garbage collector on jobs. I've never done legit.
Oh, you know what? I did lay
labor.
brick once, and it was not good. It came out really bad. It was for a Victorian house in Seaside Park. You don't know where that is.
Where's Seaside?
It's
Jersey
in New
shit?
Jersey. Yeah. It's on the water in New Jersey. It's a beach town.
Isn't like I guess like everything on the water in Jersey?
No. Well, I guess if you go all the way to the west, everything's on the Delaware. So I don't know.
River?
Yeah,
So then it's all perspective.
it's all perspective.
You know? I could live on the river like I got an ocean view, baby. Beaches all around me.
Yeah. You used it 100 feet across. I could see Pennsylvania.
A PA. Best state there is.
Maybe your half.
I don't know. No, not really.
Probably not.
There's a dude who was riding around during the election season. He was carrying around this big ass, just pulling on his truck, this big elephant that said Trump Pence on it, like this plastered elephant.
Oh, you're in the middle of Trump country, aren't you?
Oh yeah.
Dead metal.
Like legit,
You
where
go
I grew
home,
up in Fennelton clan country.
Oh my lord.
Yeah, man.
That's scary.
Like my shitty people.
You
Like
have
my
kids you go to high school with.
Oh yeah, I remember one time at senior year, I was walking to. So it was weird. I live in Butler. Winter's just like this, but for some reason they built our senior high school. Like it was built for Arizona. It's like a college campus. You have to go outside to get to different buildings.
God.
So I was walking outside to go to a science class. I was late. I was coming from like the band room. I didn't give a shit. It was like senior year, but like this big hick is coming down. It's like a Y, and we're meeting at the middle. He's like, I see him and I make eye contact, whatever. And he's like, "What's up, faggot?"
Oh.
And I go, "You know me, man." And then I like walked to class. I don't know. I was like, I always had some witty, snarky thing to say, but I think at that point I was probably getting more than that kid could dream of. So it's like,
that's fair. What's up, faggot? Oh god. Did you know him?
I knew his face. I knew everyone's
He
like.
just said, "What's up?" We don't have that at my school. We didn't have like straight up bullies or anything like that.
You didn't have hicks?
Well, no.
Okay, so here's
we had hicks from other schools, but like where
were
I
they
was,
dicks?
I guess.
Well, here's my thing. I don't like to like pigeonhole.
I played sports against them, so I've no. Everyone was a dick.
Yeah, that comes with masculinity and,
Yeah.
and organized sports, but there's something about hicks, man, especially from Butler County.
Oh well, I worked with hicks, and they're nice guys, but like
I know some real good,
they were
rednecks.
adult men though, so like
they have to grow up.
yeah,
They have to have shit happen.
They were
Maybe
like
have a kid or two.
They were like 45-year-old men who were like hicks and
Mm.
very manly, but like also were like, hey, you want to move to New York City? That's cool, man. That's
awesome.
cool, man.
Yeah,
I
hicks are something like the worst group of people I've ever encountered, but it's just culture. I know that. It's like the people they're around and they think like it's just yeah.
'Cause you go to South Jersey, it's all hicks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Southwest Jersey,
hate
it's
like
all
being like
hicks.
I fucking hate hicks, but like my experience, hicks have been the worst to me.
It's fair.
And I grew up in like where I'm from, Fennelton. There were like lawnmower tractor races.
You could technically be a hick since you're from there.
Yeah.
Like, people could just pigeonhole you and call you, hey, where are you from? Fennelton, Pennsylvania? Where's that? Fucking corn country, you hick?
Yeah, corn and cow. I grew up in a trailer. Yeah, did all of it.
Oh, God.
It's all good, man. I could piss right off my porch.
As long as Laurel's not your cousin, you're fine, I think.
I don't think Are we cousins?
What?
Yeah, I
There
don't
you go.
think we
No,
are.
She seems surprised. So.
Yeah.
Surprised.
Yeah, I think we never ran into each other at family reunions.
Tori and I have the exact same, like, features, as in we're very pale. We get rosy. We have the same color eyes, same color hair. Both have curly hair. We're both tall.
Alright, you got me on this similar hair. You had pasty skin with Laurel and I.
So, like, here's the thing. Technically, somewhere down the line, because we have blue eyes, we do have a similar ancestor. That's the problem.
That's the problem.
Hopefully it's like 10,000 years ago and not like...
It sounds like you're actively searching for this ancestor.
Here's the
and when
thing,
you
though.
find it, that's going to be the
When I
ticket.
find him, I'll be like, our kid, well, it proves that me and Dory are going to create the master race.
Oh, God, I'll talk about you. Oh, yeah, we're real white and pasty. Yeah, blue eyes. Jesus.
I just
we're
named a
talking
bunch
about how
of
we...
genetic mutations. We're the master race.
Are you gonna take out the hicks?
At least we're tall. We're gonna take over the hicks.
You're gonna take over the
I'm
hicks.
gonna get them, and then I'm gonna link up with the Jews, and we're gonna take over the world.
Oh god. Oh god. Okay, so
We're gonna transition now.
we're gonna transition. Yeah.
Transition.
So before we get into what we're talking about, what you been listening to this week, man?
This week, George Harrison.
Really?
Of, All Things Must Pass.
Great album. What's your favorite track off that?
I'm gonna say, isn't this a pity? Isn't it a pity?
Isn't it a pity?
Yes. I think it's the most beautiful song.
Yeah.
Honestly, I love it.
He writes beautiful tracks. Because of the playlist at work, I actually really, really love Wah Wah.
Wah wah. That's a great song, though.
Do you
You know what? That's the thing about him is that he can write. George Harrison was like, I thought he was the most underrated Beatle. When he was in the Beatles, they didn't give him nearly enough of the spotlight as he deserved.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you read that All Things Must Pass. Half of the songs on that album were pitched for the White Album.
Yeah, really?
They were cut by Lennon and McCartney.
Of course.
And you're just like, all right, those songs are clearly genius. Some of the songs off the White Album are questionable when you compare them to All Things Must Pass. Like,
totally.
Like, what was it, a Buffalo Bill or whatever his name?
Rocky Raccoon. That's a good song.
Yeah, they're good. It's a fun song, but like, then you hear like My Sweet Lord, and they're like, all right, well, that song's better. You know what I mean? And I don't know why they passed it up, but because there's no rhyme or reason to what the White Album. It's not like It's not like Abbey Road or Sgt. Pepper's where they were going for a certain feng shui to the album, a certain flow. White Album is completely random, which is part of the reason why it's awesome. Like, it's why it's so amazing.
You're right. You're totally right, man. And that's always been one of my lesser favorites. So I go to Revolver, Rubber Soul.
Revolver's my favorite album.
Sergeant Pepper. It goes between Sergeant Pepper's and Revolver.
And people.
I love Abbey too, though.
I always I feel weird about the White Album because I'm always I feel like I'm always putting it down. I'm always finding reasons I don't like it. But I listen to the whole thing in full. It's still great. It's the Beatles. So when you compare greatness to greatness, it's hard.
I feel you, man.
If I compare the Beatles to Coolio, then I get more results.
Very true, man. It's I was on Led Zeppelin kick last week, and
I got into a physical graffiti kick.
Physical
graffiti? I just listened to the album Physical Graffiti.
Yeah, I was on the self-titles. I was listening to all of those, 1 through 4. And, you listen to 4.
Yeah.
And it's easy to lose how great that album is because all the songs are so well known. But, that's they made fucking Led Zeppelin 4. They made all those songs on that album. Mm-hmm. That's insane. We're so far away from it that we don't, I think we're losing the appreciation of how fucking great. Every song is immaculate. It's a classic on 4.
Yeah, I agree. I absolutely agree. I really like Led Zeppelin too, and I think it's hot.
They grew so much from the first album.
Those are the two albums that I find myself arguing over. Led Zeppelin
2 and 4.
2 and 4.
Oh yeah.
Because just for my own enjoyment, which one do I listen? I can listen to both of them in full easily.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I can listen to any of them except for Led Zeppelin 3 and Coda. I can't listen to in full.
Yeah.
Basically. But
has anyone listened to Coda in full? I've never listened to Coda in full.
No, neither have I.
I'll fully be honest. I've tried and I've always stopped.
Except for there is one song off Coda that's fantastic, and it's
I'm sure it is. Them bastards had to.
No, I can't remember it, but it's great.
Yeah. No.
Wait, I might actually be thinking of the wrong album though. Hold on.
That's okay, but I like 2 more, I think, and I like other Led Zeppelin albums more, but that's because I hear 4 and I've heard these songs so much. This is a greatest hits or something. I want the deep cuts, but it's just because we're so away from it. because I was having a conversation with a friend a few months ago. I'm like, dude, why do you think Led Zeppelin's so great? Like, why are you telling me right now that they're the greatest rock band and like 4 is the greatest album? And he like just went off, and I was listening to this. He's like 4 years younger than me, and I was listening to him like talk about it, and I was like, damn straight, man, you're right. I apologize. I've just been listening to it for too long, and I became a snob for a second. Yeah.
You know what it is, man? I wouldn't say they're the best rock band of all time. I don't think anyone can take that title, because, you could say the Beatles are the best, but then you could say Led Zeppelin's the best, but then if you try to compare their music...
It's impossible, yeah.
It's impossible because they're completely different, like pop rock and, like, pop metal, whatever the fuck Led Zeppelin created. That bluesy, heavy metal rock sound that, like...
Hard rock.
It's complete. No one's ever gonna recreate Led Zeppelin. No one's ever gonna recreate the Beatles. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, unless we can turn back time.
Yeah, obviously. No one's gonna do it as well though either.
No, true.
That's the thing.
It's like we're about to talk about the Velvet Underground, Nico, and they're talking about how influential this album was, but like at the same time, Sgt. Pepper's was released, so it's like, like Velvet Underground influenced. Like, I was trying to think, I wanted to map out, who they, directly influenced. There definitely would not be a Daniel Johnston without, the Velvet Underground. And, there wouldn't be...
there wouldn't be a Talking Heads.
But there also wouldn't be Talking Heads without King Crimson and Frank Zappa and Sgt. Pepper.
Well,
so it all comes hand in hand.
You can't give all the credit
to
the Velvet Underground because you have Captain Beefheart.
Yep.
You have Frank Zappa and the Mothers of Invention. You have all these people that made creative music in 67, in 65, between 65 and 67.
The 13th floor elevators, the crazy psych rockers from Austin, shit was happening, and it's all cumulative.
Yeah. So you can't give all the credit to the Velvet Underground, especially since this album only sold 30,000 in its 2 years of distribution.
Yeah, labels fucking shit up, man.
It's had absolutely no promotion, but there is a feeling that with the 30,000 people that bought this album, every single one of them started a fucking band.
Yeah,
and
Brian,
created music. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like that.
I think that's why it took me so long to I'm just now starting to enjoy this album.
Yeah.
Because I grew up Zeppelin, Deep Purple. I listened to Buddy Rich, Mahavishnu Orchestra during February, heavy hitter music.
Yeah.
My dad was rip-roaring music. And then I got out of that in high school and I started listening to Cirque Survive, The Deer Hunter, Mars Volta. I found math rock, and then I got into hip-hop, all that stuff. But I really went to technical stuff. I didn't have that, Now Neil Young's one of my favorite musicians. I love songwriters. I love all that shit. So I appreciate the Velvet Underground more.
Absolutely. Because that was one of the first albums that took subject matter that we've never heard before. Mm-hmm. Heroin use, sadomasochism.
Mm-hmm.
Trans people.
Yeah.
It was stuff that we'd never heard of before.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? In music, in modern music.
Mm-hmm. But nowadays we hear that all the time, so it's easy to be what am I listening to? I can listen to all these other bands, but you have to think of the context of the time.
Yeah. It was 1967. No one would play this fucking record. Nobody would play this record. They heard Heroin. They would hear Venus and Furs, and they'd go, "What in the name of fucking Christ is this song about?" Venus and Furs is about a dominatrix from the point of view of the man who's getting fucked up by this lady. And that's 1967. You know what I mean?
And that's from
Leave It to Beaver was still on TV. That's awful.
Right, and that's from a book that was written in the 1800s
1870.
Too. Yeah, so taboo shit.
Yeah.
But today though, it's everything's taboo.
It's still, and what the weird part is that there's still this weird veil around that stuff. And there is because there's still judgment. People are still judgmental. Back then, if you think people are that judgmental now, imagine how people reacted back then. They didn't even believe that the music existed.
You ever watch Detroit Rock City, the movie?
No.
Oh, you gotta watch it. But it's just a comedy. You know, it's
Yeah.
about these three friends who want to go see Kiss and they're trying to win tickets. But the moms are like the moms against, you know, whatever, like the devil or and like burning records and shit. It's like that shit happened.
Yeah.
Back then.
Yeah.
Like I could hug my mom with 666 on my head and maybe she would hug me and I say anything. Like back in the day, like no way.
People thought Elvis was evil because he was moving his hips on TV.
Oh God.
You know,
Elvis is the devil.
Elvis is the devil. You know what I mean?
Elvis got fat because he liked Satan. That's why Elvis died, kid.
Yeah. And what's weird is that people eventually came around to Elvis.
Oh yeah.
Like people who were calling him the devil, like 15 years later, were going to see him in Vegas. You know what I mean?
Look at Lady Gaga.
Yeah.
People are now finally starting to respect her as a musician, and she's been dropping her earlier persona, like since, I think Art Pop came out 2013 or whatever, and she did the duets album with Tony Bennett.
That was awesome.
Yeah, she had like that whole HBO thing. Like that's changed my dad's viewpoint on her. But like people still see her as that old vein, but people are starting to be like, you know, Lady Gaga, she can sing, she can play. Like,
she was fucking awesome back then too, though.
She was, but she had that meat dress.
She was wearing meat dresses and shit. I thought it was cool.
Yeah, but everyone was like, oh, she's just like Madonna, or like.
So? That's how you make money. She's smart.
No, she's very smart.
She's a genius, yeah.
But I think less people are looking at her as like the devil, like Elvis, you know. But yeah, this is definitely an influential album. I was like just looking at different genres it affected and stuff. You have like art rock, punk, garage, grunge, shoegaze, gothic, which I think like there's other shit that influenced like gothic music too. I mean, maybe like they put it to the mainstream a little more with like what's that song? All Tomorrow's Parties, and like they had a sound that like got it to the mainstream. But like, indie, lo-fi, like it is crazy how many like sounds and genres they definitely seep through and influence.
And what's odd, it's a bare bones album. There's not a lot of instruments on it. There's not a lot of production. There's almost no production.
It's off-putting at points.
Yeah, it is. And there's certain songs where the melody is beautiful. And then there's another song. The next song will be like, I'm lost in a haze of sound. Like it's almost, I'm like, where the fuck am I? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just loud because they have, you have John Cale playing this electric viola with
his
guitar strings.
Is fantastic.
And it's just.
He used guitar strings.
Guitar strings, yeah.
Shit, I didn't know that.
I think piano wire too at one point.
Yeah, and he would just like cut it to fit.
Yep.
That's pretty gnarly.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
That's some cool fucking shit for you.
Damn. Yeah, they had a cool sound going. I like the drum. He's not a drummer. He's a percussionist. You know, it's not really like a full like
they had
drum set.
Maureen Tucker. She was just banging a snare drum on one song. She had a tambourine in this hand on this song. You know, she had maracas on this song. It was easy stuff. It was simple. Which, you know, at that point actually music hadn't been very simple. Really, I mean.
I guess you're coming off of jazz. And
yeah, it was everything was orchestrated. Yeah, it was one of the, you know, and I shouldn't say that simple because, you know, obviously there were like 3-piece bands that were like. You know,
you had the easy going pop stuff, the Buddy Hollies and all that shit.
But there was no complicated playing really.
I think at that time Marvin Gaye was doing the easy going hits and stuff.
Yeah,
so you're right.
They were doing R&B, you know. It was easy.
Beatles were just getting into their weird phase.
Yeah. It was 67, so
67.
that was Revolver 67, wasn't it?
Sgt. Pepper's actually.
Sgt. Pepper?
Yeah, I'm going to have to talk about it on the show later
Revolver was 66, Rubber Soul was 65.
But they were all like real close to each other.
Right,
yeah. I wonder what the Who was at during this too. I think they like what's the one with all the advertisements?
Who Sells Out?
I think this was in between that
album.
album.
That was with, they used Warhol stuff in that too.
They did?
Yeah, that with the Campbell Soup logo and all that shit.
He's from Pittsburgh.
I know. Yeah.
And he's his original name was Warhola.
Warhol, yeah.
Yeah, and my dad, the first place my dad grew up real poor and shit, and the first place he was the only child for a little bit until my aunt was born, but they lived in this like 4-story
apartment in Butler, and the Warholas lived there. It was like his uncle.
No shit.
He was a crazy drunk, shit himself. The whole apartment like stunk. Yeah, my dad told. Like, that's why he changed his name. His family was crazy.
And so he cut that.
Yeah, of course he just cut that
shit.
And it's real. I was friends and roommates and stuff for a long time with a dude who was related to him.
Really?
And stuff. Yeah, and in our room we had a legit like original signed Andy Warhol Bette Midler
print. Bette Midler. That's fucking
painting.
Cool.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
Yeah, dude, it was awesome. But yeah, fully like in Butler and Pittsburgh and shit.
Yeah, it's all connected.
Let's talk about him. What is your opinion of him as a producer for the Velvet Underground?
He funded the album.
Mm-hmm.
I know that.
Did the artwork?
He did the cover.
The pink banana.
It was the famous banana.
The famous.
Well, I wonder how they came up with that. So very phallic.
I never knew that it was a sticker you could peel off.
Yeah, you can peel off. You cover.
Banana.
It's a pink banana. It's a bare pink banana. I think he probably had nothing to do with the music other than I believe he made them put Nico in some of the songs. Three songs they use Nico. At his insistence, I like Nico's songs. So I like Femme Fatale. I think it's a good song. That's a good song.
She ruins his favorite song of the group, All Tomorrow's Parties. Yeah. I think the beginning of that song is so good with the guitar. It's like, straight like 90s alternative.
Lou Reed could play guitar.
Yeah, he could.
He could fucking play guitar.
Well, that's why I love Loaded so much.
Yeah.
Like, finally Lou Reed did what Lou Reed should do. Like,
but we know of Lou Reed. He could play fucking guitar, and he knows how to, and he loves it. And he doesn't let loose on this album.
Not at all.
He doesn't really let loose until Transformer, really.
Yeah. I haven't.
White Heat. He has a couple of songs that are guitar heavy, but nothing crazy.
This and Loaded are all I've listened to, so I'll check the in between albums.
Yeah.
But going back to Andy real quick, I was reading a quote where like Lou's like he was our producer in the way that he let us do whatever we wanted.
Very hands off.
Yeah, And I know a lot of people would be like, nah, he didn't produce it. But it's like, imagine having someone with like infinite funds, just like I like what you're doing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna help you. I'm never gonna like tell you what to do. And he was like, if they didn't do well or someone didn't like him on the show, like that went to Andy.
Yeah.
But, so like I totally am like, yeah, he was a big part of the Velvet Underground.
If he was a producer, more of a sense of like a film producer than he was what a traditional music producer was. He was more of a film producer in a way that he protected the band, he funded the band, and he provided them with an image and a tour. He handled the touring. He was their agent.
Yep.
But he was hands off on the music.
Yeah.
And I believe when it comes to the actual music, Sterling Morrison and John Cale did most of the arranging for the album. Mm-hmm. And Lou Reed wrote all the lyrics.
He went to Syracuse.
He did. He graduated in '64 with a bachelor's in English.
I wonder if he was at the house I was at.
Maybe.
It was an old, big house.
Big ass old house.
Big ass old house.
He was in the ROTC program. This is a fun fact. He was in the ROTC program. He was the captain of the infantry at the ROTC program. Lou Reed was. He was dismissed for putting an unloaded gun to his superior's head. Pretending and pulling the trigger and basically making the guy piss himself.
Oh shit!
Yeah, but he was a genius. He got straight A's and he wrote incredible poetry and stories and all that. So the school couldn't get rid of him because he was on the dean's list.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? He graduated at the top of his class. So they just let it slide. They just kicked him out of ROTC, which is good because it probably saves him from going to Vietnam.
Yeah.
So that's a plus.
Damn.
We didn't lose Lou Reed to Vietnam.
I wonder how many people we lost to Vietnam.
A lot of artists, probably. It's just like when you think about, this is gonna get dark.
Get dark, man.
We lost 6 million Jews in the Holocaust, and you think about all the Jewish community has done for the arts and the sciences. Yeah. I mean, they're an incredible people. They've done so much for film, music. Lou Reed was a Jew.
Yeah. I know that. Is he from New York City?
He was born in Brooklyn.
Okay.
And he grew up in Long Island.
Okay.
And you think about that, all these Jewish children that we lost, how many great artists did we lose? Did we lose The Cure for Cancer? Did we lose the cure for all these horrible diseases? We lost the cure for Zika. You know, did we lose the mysteries of the universe? Did we lose a physicist who was going to figure it all out? Who's going to find alternate timelines? You know, we lost a lot. We probably, and I think a lot of people knew that because this isn't a bad stereotype. Wherever there are Jewish people, there is success, and there is art and culture and history. Because
where is like the biggest Hasidic Jewish community in Brooklyn?
In Brooklyn, probably Williamsburg.
Williamsburg, man. Yeah, exactly.
Probably Williamsburg. Yeah.
And though it's a little more gentrified and like there's like not many DIY venues or anything like that, it's still a hip cultural center.
It's a hub.
It's definitely a hub.
Yeah.
Definitely a hub. Though, to give credit to people who actually produced the album real quick, it's really crazy to me that I have 3 names written down. Gary Kellgren, Norman Dolph, and John Licata, or something like that. And they were all uncredited producers from Skeptor Studios, and legit always uncredited forever. Yeah. And now we live in the information age, so you can get on Wikipedia or shit and see that they're...
find them.
Like, damn.
And I wonder what was going through those guys' minds making this album. You know, like
making the album and then not getting credit for like helping these weirdos.
They probably didn't care for 10 years.
For 10 years, and then
1977 came around, and new wave happened. You know, and all these bands were asked, "Hey, who's your favorite band?" The Velvet Underground. You know, oh fuck.
I helped with this.
Shit.
Okay. Yeah, you're right, man.
You know, because you can't find any like critical reception to this fucking album until 1977. Easily.
Really?
Yeah, like that. Like I don't think Rolling Stone did anything on it until 77. The only person that I could only find like 2 reviews, and it was like this low-level magazine from like 67, and then Lester Bangs from Cream magazine. He's a pretty famous music critic who. You know.
He didn't think much of it, or he liked it?
He liked it.
He liked it.
I always, if you should look him up, Lester Bangs. Yeah, he died young.
What was the magazine? Cream magazine?
Cream. And he ended up working as an editor for Rolling Stone as well.
One more time with his name?
Lester Bangs.
Thank you.
And I think you'd end up really liking him.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I should look into like old reviewers. That'd be some really interesting reads.
There's some interesting stuff. You know, when Led Zeppelin 1 hit the scene, everyone fucking hated it. Everyone hated it. It was like panned. And then like it got to actual people who matter, and everyone was like, "Fuck, this rocks." You know what I mean? Like, cause you can't. They were like, "Oh, they're basically the Birds. They're the Yardbirds. They suck. Whatever." Yeah, because Jimmy Page was in the Yardbirds.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think,
Yardbirds were like popular though.
Yeah, I mean they were popular blues rock in the '60s, you know, and yeah, there's definitely influences in Led Zeppelin. There's stuff that builds to these bands, you know, and obviously Led Zeppelin 1 is basically lifted from like every blues artist ever. I mean, I don't know.
Look at the early Beatles.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's all, you know, shake it up, baby. No, they didn't write Twisted Shout. You fucking kidding me?
The Beatles did not write Twist and Shout.
No, they did not.
Oh, man.
Unless they did, and I'm wrong. In which case, strike that.
I don't think you're wrong. And then Tom Wilson was the dude they went out to in California and like redid some songs, which like apparently from what I was reading is like kind of a mystery about why that really happened.
Yeah. I think Columbia wanted them to redo songs before they signed them, and then they just said no thanks.
Yeah.
It was something like that.
Because I know they did Sunday Morning with him, which is like the most clean.
That's a
song.
great. That's one of the best songs in the album.
Oh, definitely.
I'd say it's. It might be the best.
That I actually really I love Femme Fatale, but for the song itself, Mike Kinsella of American Football, Cap'n Jazz, I know him. He does a cover of Owen of Femme Fatale off of At Home with Owen. Fantastic. But I love Venus and Furs.
That's a great song too. It's completely different from Sunday Morning.
It is, but I love
that's what's awesome about the album, is that
so different, yeah.
Every song's different. It's not like the Strokes where you can listen to every song and you're like, have I been listening to the same fucking song for the past hour? Like, I just shit on the Strokes so bad, I'm sorry.
You know,
it's just...
it's funny, Laurel works at Trader Joe's and one dude was like, Laurel, you like the Strokes, right? And she was like, I don't really know them. And like, he just stopped everything. He's like, what the hell? He's like, your boyfriend likes the Strokes, I bet you anybody, because I'm in the know of telling music.
You're in the know.
But I don't, though. No. I know some singles, but like, I've never totally just dove in, because I listen to Television. And I'm like, well, I just found Television a month ago. I was telling you.
Television, that's a band. They had to have listened to this fucking album.
Yeah, and the Strokes listened to Television, and Television did what the Strokes did in 2000 whatever in 1977.
They were in 73. They're fucking good stuff. Television, that's oh my god. They're like.
I missed talking about that one. That was an anniversary in the beginning of February.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, transitionary period in my life. I just have time to do shit, man.
It's alright. It's alright.
It's a good album. It's an influential album. It's the 50th anniversary.
Yeah. It's the 50th anniversary.
Yeah, I would say Sunday Morning, Femme Fatale, Venus and Furs. I like the music of Heroin a lot, but I definitely like Loaded. Like, I'm excited when that's an anniversary album.
That's their most commercial album. That was probably the most commercial and like poppy. That's kind of where they didn't give in to what was popular. They just kind of took it for what they took what was popular at the time and they made it their own.
But that's like just as experimental to
it
me
is.
as this. What's the beginning guitar tone in the second track? Is that in beginning of Sweet Jane? To me, it's way more experimental than anything they did on this album. Like
probably,
whatever tone they got to get that. I mean, yes. What's his name? John Cale's viola is really crazy. Like all the droney shit. That's really experimental.
That was brand new.
Like
that was probably brand new.
Yeah.
Like no one's done that.
Besides, I mean, anyone who was touching on that, the only other people that were touching on it was the Beatles were like Ravi Shankar and doing the sitar shit.
Yeah.
That's all.
That's all brand new to Western music.
60s. It's really crazy, you know. I think about now. It's really parallel to the 60s and like the late 60s, early 70s with like the turmoil, what was going on in the world. But like I feel like there's a really good, at least in the art communities that I'm involved in, there's like really cool artistic shit happening. There's some cultural growth happening. Yeah. It's like we're fighting back. It's like my hair just grew long. I wanted it to grow long, but like it just like kept going, and it's like, yeah, no, we're gonna fight back, man. We're gonna grow our hair longer. We're gonna make art. We're gonna fight the orange beast.
The orange beast being
Trumpola.
No, I know.
Trump City.
Trump City. We're in Trump City.
We are in Trump City.
Yep.
Well, I would have to give. Velvet Underground and Nico a close to perfect, if not perfect, score just for what it did.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was completely experimental. It influenced so many people. That's what you have to look at it. That's how you listen to this album. Is that you look at it from the perspective of somebody listening to it in 1967. And like a 16-year-old kid in 67, you know, who was sitting there thinking, man, I love music. You know, he's a fucking weird kid. Maybe he's gay. Maybe he's a little feminine. Puts on those headphones, hears this music, and he goes, shit, this guy gets me. You know, these people get me. You know, and it made them flourish. You know, it's one of those albums that made people who they were.
Yeah.
You know, you probably ask a bunch of artists, what was your quintessential albums? They probably say a Beatles album. And they probably say the Velvet Underground and Nico. And whatever else. You know what I mean? Because I hope everyone's got a fucking Beatles album. You know,
you'd hope.
Everybody has a Beatles album. You know, if Questlove has a Beatles album, everyone should have one that made them go, man, this is great.
Right?
You know what I mean?
That is immaculate taste.
Questlove?
Yeah.
He's got the best music taste of like any person.
I feel like me and him would vibe really hard if we ever became, like, if I could ever talk to him.
He's such an awesome drummer, too.
I know, man.
You listen to his drumming and you're like, there would be no Questlove without Ringo Starr. There wouldn't be. There wouldn't be. That guy wouldn't know how to drum without Ringo. Because they're, like, very similar in styles, actually. Oddly enough.
Yeah, Ringo's dope, man. My copy of the White Album I have on vinyl, they took all the portraits of all, you know, like, the vinyls come with, like, George, John, Paul, and Ringo, all their portraits. They took everything but Ringo's. And I was like, that's bullshit. I hung it up on my wall. It's a beautiful picture of a long-bearded Ringo. No one appreciates him.
I'm into that.
You're into it?
I'm into Ringo.
I love Ringo,
Ringo's a good guy.
It took growing up to appreciate Ringo more.
Well, you grow up, and the first thing you hear is John Bonham and Keith Moon.
Ian Pace, yeah, man.
Ian Pace.
It's
Like,
over.
all right, well.
Listen to watch your buddy Rich just destroyed in the 40s. You're like, what the fuck?
Like,
why am I listening to Ringo?
You watch Ringo, and you're like, why is this guy so slow? What is he doing? Mm-hmm. And you're like, then you learn. You're like, all right, if he had done what everyone else was doing, the Beatles wouldn't be the same band. Mm-hmm. No, they just wouldn't.
No.
Yeah, and they wanted him to play like that. Like you always hear about John and Paul telling him to let loose, and he was like, no. He just said no, because he knew it was perfect.
Yep.
He just knew what he had to do, that's respect, because he took a lot of lumps for that, probably.
I feel you, man. Yeah, my music career is always I want to be a ripper and all this shit, but now like playing beach, man, I'm Ringo in it, man. I'm Ringo in it hard.
That's awesome, though.
That's what you gotta do.
Yeah.
You gotta know when to be a Ringo, know when to be a Bonham.
Mm-hmm. That's how it is. And then you can find the in-betweens like Stuart Copeland from the Police, who is just fucking awesome in his own laid-back way.
Oh yeah,
you
man.
Know what I mean, just like on that ride. Taking it for a ride, Ian. You know what I'm saying?
Taking me for a ride there, Stuart Copeland. Well, thanks for talking to me, man.
Yeah, of course.
Good album. Great album.
Great album. No, I listened to some songs on it. I'm not gonna say it's my favorite album. I listen to it every day.
Same.
But it's good, and I appreciate it. I pay thanks to it for all the beautiful music that it probably created. You know what I'm saying?
Amen.
Yeah.
Alright, shit. Well, seriously, thanks again, man. I can't wait to have you on again.
Yeah, of course. My pleasure.